Creative ideation in upcycle art. For any art form, creative ideation lies at the very foundation, referring to the process of generating ideas through imagination, inspiration, or brainstorming. Ideas are refined and developed into concrete concepts, then transformed into tangible works. In this video, we will examine how upcycle artists navigate material constraints, ethical considerations, aesthetic innovation, and narrative development in their ideation process to create works that challenge conventional artistic norms. Material as muse. Traditional artistic ideation typically follows a concept-first approach where artists begin with a blank canvas, fresh clay, or a conceptual spark to execute their vision. Upcycle artists flip this approach and embrace a material-first philosophy. They start with trash findings and ask, what can this become? A creative process that responds to the material's inherent potential and properties. Material-led innovation holds significant power, as found objects themselves suggest creative possibilities that may not emerge solely from conceptual brainstorming. Each discarded piece carries unpredictable combinations of form, texture, and color, often limited in quantity or variety, becoming collaborators for upcycle artists rather than mere tools. This constraint-driven creativity transforms limitations and serendipitous discoveries into catalysts of generative forces. Local crafters in Kenya collect discarded flip-flops, which are in such huge amounts that they pose an environmental problem, and transform them into vibrant, hand-carved sculptures now displayed in public areas worldwide. Abandoned fishing nets left in the ocean pose a massive threat to marine life. However, these strong and colorful nylon materials inspire Carolina Caicedo, a Colombian multidisciplinary artist, to create playful and durable sculptures and installations. Aesthetic innovation. Despite material differences, upcycle art employs the same compositional principles as all other art forms: balance, proportion, color harmony, rhythm, and visual hierarchy. While traditional aesthetics value polish, mastery, and often flawless execution, upcycle art redefines what is finished and embraces imperfection in the creative ideation concept as aesthetic virtue. Rust patterns, fractions, weathering effects, and wear marks become integral design elements rather than flaws to be corrected. This aesthetic philosophy celebrates the unexpected, raw authenticity, material history, and natural aging processes, adding a unique and authentic charm to upcycled creations. Canadian artist Cal Lane plasma cuts discarded steel objects such as oil cans, featuring rust and weathering as deliberate aesthetic elements in her work. El Corazon, a sculpture made almost entirely of driftwood by artists Julie Ryan and Thelia Sanders Shelton, exposes the cracks and natural form of the material. Ethical imperatives. One of the most distinctive characteristics of upcycle art ideation is its embedded ethical dimension. While traditional art may touch on social or political themes, ethics remain optional, and canvas and paint are morally neutral materials. Discarded materials, on the other hand, inherently reference consumption, waste, and environmental impact. Ethics drive upcycle artists in every decision throughout their creative ideation process, extending beyond pure aesthetic considerations. From sustainable sourcing and carbon-neutral processes to full transparency and activist messaging, sustainability is not merely a theme, it's the price of admission, a non-negotiable framework. For example, the Washed Ashore sculptures by Angela Hazeltine Pazzi, created from beach plastic waste, automatically engage with marine conservation themes. Similarly, Nick Cave's utilization of fashion waste such as scrap fabric, throw rugs, stuffed animals, and gleaming buttons inherently critiques fast fashion culture. Technical mastery. Often working with unconventional materials in unpredictable conditions, upcycle artists find themselves in constant stages of exploration and experimentation during the ideation process. Each unique piece of found object demands a deep understanding of material properties, adaptability, and cross-disciplinary fluency. This necessity for technical expansion often leads to tool innovation and creative methodology development to bring their artistic vision to life. American artist Josh Blackwell applies embroidery techniques traditionally used in textile art to discarded plastic bags, demonstrating an innovative cross-disciplinary technique. Despite using new materials, Tara Donovan's creation of cloud-like formations from thousands of disposable cups in her untitled, Plastic Cups, shows how knowledge of fluid dynamics and crystalline growth patterns from materials science can be applied to unconventional art materials. Narrative archaeology. In traditional art forms, narrative often stems from the artist's imagination and personal experience. Discarded objects, however, carry embedded narratives that become integral to creative ideation. Upcycle artists amplify, subvert, or dialogue with pre-existing material stories embedded in the scars, wear patterns, and traces of previous use. The sculptures created by Vilu Janisu from old rubber tires inherently carry memories of the miles traveled and environmental impact even before artists infuse intentional meaning. Robert Bradford's life-size sculptures of animals crafted from discarded plastic toys evoke nostalgia and represent a specific point in time, a history of some unknown past. Collaborative communities. Upcycle art naturally fosters collaborative ideation models that extend beyond traditional artistic practice. Material acquisition may require community relationships. The creation process involves NGOs, social messages pass through educational institutes, technical support comes from corporate partners, and display venues are secured through municipal offices. Collaboration with diverse groups, acting as co-creators, often shapes upcycle artists' direction, creating responsive ideation cycles that blend artistic autonomy with social engagement. Projects like the Plastic Bottle Village, led by artist Robert Bezzo in Panama, engage local communities to participate in the building process of entire villages by repurposing plastic waste. Razzle Dazzle, by American artist Amanda Browder, involves community donors, local businesses, and volunteer artists in collecting scrap fabric or leftovers, materials that determine the final outcome of the installation. Upcycle art's creative ideation process represents an evolutionary expansion of artistic thinking, a mashup of constraint-driven innovation, imperfection aesthetics, ethical integration, material-embedded narratives, and community co-creation. Unlike traditional art, it doesn't just represent change, it enacts it. As waste becomes the defining medium of our era, upcycle artists demonstrate that profound creativity often begins with a simple question: what if trash isn't trash at all? UAACS, Upcycle Art and Craft Society. When creativity meets sustainability.